Hello there, it's Steve Saunders. Hope it's hot enough for you out there today. It's unbelievably hot today, isn't it? I sat in the garden, had some lunch, and I needed to change my shirt. So apologies for the more sporting attire, but it ties in quite nicely with the fifth and final part of the Frank Dick learnings that I've been speaking about over the last couple of days. So there's five key learnings that I took from Professor Frank Dick's OBE's message to us a couple of weeks back. The 5 parts were: resilience is an attitude, coaches tell stories, perform under pressure, know yourself and know your people, and then the 5th part is raise your game consistently. So it's consistently improving. So the step 5 is that we're going to speak about just briefly today is raise your game consistently. So again, it is that doing these things over and over and over again, over and over and over again. It's something that adults are very keen to do. They're quite happy to do that. I know certainly in my days of race coaching youngsters at Welling and Hemel ski centres, kids need to change, have a bit of more variety, but adults are in a much better position to do things over and over again, because they know that it's with that repetition that they will get better and they will reach improvements, depending on the feedback and the observations and the changes that they can make to the actions that they take. Because if you keep making the same mistake and doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to get anywhere. So you do need to take advice and get someone else to look at things from a different angle and a different set of eyes. So that always works well. And Frank Dick mentioned a really good example of really sort of setting the bar high and going for it. So he mentioned the 400 metre runner, Wade van Niekerk. And he's a South African guy that eventually went on to win the gold medal at the Rio Olympics in a world record time of 43, just over 43 seconds. And what they did, apparently, from Frank's story, they got together with their coach. He heard one of Wade van Niekerk's coaches, and they set the goal of, like, what can you be? What's the target to win the gold medal? Well, that may be out of reach, and it's certainly not within your control. So someone could run faster or harder or whatever. Hi Terry, nice to see you. So it's working on. They were then trying to work out, right, what can we control? And they worked out that usually on the 400 metres, if you're familiar with that, the track, the first 200 metres is usually 2 seconds faster than the second 200 metres. So they worked out that they needed to run 20 seconds 0.5 for the first 200 metres, and then if they ran 22 seconds 0.5 for the second 200 metres, then that would give them 43 seconds. 43 seconds would be a world record, and then they'd looked at the field and it would be breaking the world record. So no one else had run that fast. So that was the key target. They really stretched the bar to go, right, we don't want to just win the gold medal. We want to win it in a world record breaking time, which was fantastic. So interestingly, they're trained and trained and trained, and spent a lot of time running 200 metres, 100 metres to get that speed and endurance kicking in, and just focusing in on those split times and getting those splits. Again, a great thing that's a sort of mindset thing, really. Often in the 400 metres in athletics, and if they're running in lanes, people tend to want to be in the middle. So they want to see what other athletes are up to. But it's interesting that Wade van Niekerk was drawn in lane 8, which was outside on at the end of the track, which was a blessing for him, because he could really just focus on his own race and run his own race. So he knew what times he needed to be going through the first 100, the second 100, the third 100, and then finally into the last 100 to give him the 400 metres. So it was really interesting to hear that they'd broken it down to that level of detail. And actually the lane 8 draw was a great thing. So the mindset shift there was, well, no one wins the gold medal from the lane 8. Well, that can be ripped up as well, because it certainly was won in Rio by Wade van Niekerk in lane 8. So two little things that are ticking off there, two really interesting points. So that mindset and breaking things down and being consistent. So that was the fifth element that Sir Frank Dick, Professor, I've given him promotion there. So Professor Frank Dick talked to us about. So there's 5 things there. I'll just recap again to wrap this up really. So resilience is an attitude. Coaches tell stories. Perform under pressure. Know yourself and know your people, and raise your game consistently. So have a little look back at the previous videos that I've done, the Facebook lives, to collect all the information. And if you need any more information, or you'd like any more, please feel free to reach out to me, or take a look at Frank Dick in action. He's got a brilliant book called Winning. So take a look at that and improve on your learnings. So bye for now. Speak to you soon. Enjoy the sunny weather.